My twin sister always said we'd share everything. I just didn't realize she meant my future husband, too. And I definitely didn't expect to be standing at the altar, in front of our entire family, holding a DNA test envelope instead of a bouquet. My name is, you can leave this blank or change it for your channel. I'll say Rachel. I'm 29, and I have an identical twin sister named Rebecca. We came into the world 11 minutes apart. Our baby books say it, our mom tells everyone, and my sister never let me forget it. I'm the older one, she'd say, flipping her hair. I hit all the milestones first. When we were little, it was cute. Matching outfits, twin-themed Halloween costumes. Which one are you? Jokes from strangers. As we got older, it stopped being cute and started feeling like a competition I never signed up for. If I got an A, she needed an A+. If a boy liked me, she'd flirt with him just to see if I still had it. If I got a job, she'd brag about her promotion. Our parents didn't help. Mom loved the idea of the twins. She'd introduce us as a unit. Dad would say things like, "You girls have to look out for each other. Friends come and go. Sisters are forever." I internalized that. She's my sister, my twin, my other half. You don't compete with your other half. You love her. You defend her. You forgive her. Rebecca internalized something else. That everything of mine was also hers. Clothes, friends, attention. Apparently, one day, my fiancé. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you about the man both of us thought we owned first. His name is Daniel. I met him at 24, at the most millennial place possible. A friend's housewarming party where nobody really knew whose apartment it was, but everyone knew the playlist. He was in the kitchen, badly cutting a pineapple. I was in the kitchen, badly avoiding small talk. We locked eyes when he almost sliced his finger off. "Clearly, you need supervision," I said, taking the knife from him. He laughed. We talked. He asked for my number before dessert. He was that perfect blend of steady and funny. Engineer, good with numbers, bad with knives. He remembered things I said in passing and surprised me with them later. "I drove past that hole-in-the-wall Thai place you mentioned," he'd text. "Want to try it Friday?" He met my parents on date 5. My mother adored him before we even sat down. "You brought real flowers," she said, taking the bouquet. "And you're early, keeper." My dad gave him the standard, "What are your intentions, Dad? Look." Daniel didn't flinch. "I like your daughter very much, sir," he said. "I'm hoping to like her for a very long time." Dad laughed. He was in. Then came Rebecca. I told her about him, of course. Sisters talk. Twins talk more. "He sounds perfect," she'd said, half teasing. Finally, a guy who's not a walking red flag. She met him at a family barbecue. I remember watching it like a movie I didn't know the ending to yet. She walked into my parents' backyard in a sundress, sunglasses on, the wind doing that annoying thing where it makes someone's hair look like a commercial. Daniel was standing by the grill, talking to my dad about college football. I nudged him. "That's my sister," I said. He looked over and did a tiny double take. "We are identical. Same face, same brown eyes, same dimples. We've always worn our hair differently, but if you saw us from across a room, you'd do what he did. A quick wait, there's two. Look." He smiled, put down his drink, and walked over with me. "Rebecca, this is Daniel," I said. "Daniel, this is my evil twin." She laughed, big and loud. "I'm the fun one," she said, hugging me, then turning to him. "So you're the guy stealing my sister. I hope you know I have veto power." He chuckled. "I'll keep that in mind," he said. They got along immediately. Too immediately, if you asked the insecure, jealous version of me that existed deep in some dark corner. They bantered. They did that twin joke thing. Which one did I meet first? And he kept accidentally saying, "You two are so alike," which logically, yes, we are. We're twins. Rebecca made sure to stand a little too close, touch his arm when she laughed. Ask him pointed questions like, "So what do you really see in my sister?" Give me the unfiltered version. I brushed it off. That's just how she is, I told myself. Flirty, loud, center of attention Rebecca. Besides, he chose me. He asked me out. He kissed me. He slept beside me. He planned a future with me. What I didn't know then is that choosing someone once doesn't mean they keep choosing you in every single moment after. About a year into dating, Daniel proposed. It wasn't a grand gesture. No fireworks, no billboards, no flash mob. It was a Sunday morning. We were in our pajamas, making pancakes in my tiny kitchen. He slid a ring box across the counter like it was the salt. "I know this isn't how it happens in movies," he said, voice shaking just a little. "But none of this has felt like a movie. It feels solid, real. I want real with you. For a long time, will you marry me?" I cried. "Obviously," I said yes. He cried too. Told my parents. They screamed. We drove over with the ring still warm on my finger. Rebecca was already there somehow. She must have teleported, because there's no way my mother only called us. "Oh my God," she squealed, grabbing my hand. "It's about time, let me see." She examined the ring like a jeweler. "It's perfect," she said, then looked at Daniel. "Okay, you did good, I approve." Dad popped champagne. Mom started talking about venues within minutes. "We can do a double theme," she joked. The twin getting married, the other twin crying because she's still single. Rebecca smirked. "Who says I'll be single by then?" she said. "Maybe I'll steal your thunder." We laughed. Not because it was funny, because it couldn't possibly be true, right? Planning a wedding as an identical twin is weird. Every dress I tried on, the stylist would say, "We could do a matching look for your sister too, if she wants to coordinate." Every vendor email came back with the twins in the subject line. Rebecca leaned into it. "I should be in white too," she joked. "We shared a womb, we can share the color scheme." My mom actually considered it for a second. "Maybe we could do you in ivory and her in champagne," she mused. I shut that down. "No," I said more firmly than I intended. "No white, no almost white. This is my wedding." Rebecca pouted. "Relax," she said. "I didn't mean it literally. You're so sensitive lately." She said that a lot. "You're so sensitive. You're overreacting. You're imagining things." First time she said it about Daniel. I should have listened to my gut. It was small stuff at first. At family dinners, she'd sit next to him instead of across. She'd ask him for help with fixing something on her phone, holding it out to him like a child asking for candy. One night, we were at my parents' watching a movie. I came back from the bathroom and saw them sitting close on the couch, laughing at something on his screen. "What's so funny?" I asked, trying to keep my voice light. "Memes," Daniel said, tilting the phone so I could see. Rebecca gave me a quick, unreadable look, then scooted a little farther away. Later in the car, I said, "Hey, can you not have long private joke sessions with my sister? It makes me uncomfortable." He frowned. "She's your sister," he said. "We're going to be family. I'm just trying to get along with her. I thought you want that." "I do," I said. There's a line, and it feels like she likes stepping on it." He sighed. "Rachel, you're overthinking," he said. "I'm with you. I chose you. Your sister is just loud and flirty with everyone. You said that yourself." He wasn't wrong. He just wasn't right enough. Then came the texts. It was a Tuesday night, 3 months before the wedding. We were on the couch, Daniel asleep with his head on my lap, TV playing some true crime documentary neither of us was really watching. His phone buzzed. Once, twice, 3 times. He didn't stir. I glanced down. Normally, I don't snoop. Phones are private. We had passwords, but we knew each other's. We never checked. But something about the rapid buzzes made my instincts prick. I tilted the phone just enough to see. "Becca, you're still coming over, right? Becca, I need you. Becca, don't wimp out now." My stomach clenched. We were literally on the couch together. What coming over was she talking about? I woke him gently. "Hey," I said, "your sister's texting you." He blinked, sat up, grabbed the phone, turned the screen away from me. "Work stuff," he mumbled. "Client, I'll reply later." "Becca," nail polish emoji, "not work." I stared at him. "Can you show me?" I asked quietly. He stiffened. "Why?" he asked. "Because you just lied," I said. "And because I know my sister's contact name when I see it." He froze, then exhaled. "You're making a big deal out of nothing," he said, typing quickly. "She just wants help with something. Her sink, I think." Dramatic. I didn't want to get into it right now. "So show me," I repeated. He hesitated, then slowly turned the phone. The messages I'd seen were there. Above them, earlier in the thread, "Becca, I can't believe you're doing this to her." "Daniel, we're not doing anything. We're just talking." "Becca, talking doesn't get you in this much trouble, genius." "Daniel," I said I'd handle it. "Just give me time." My heart pounded. "What is that?" I asked, voice shaking. He closed the thread quickly. "It's not what it looks like," he said. "Then tell me what it is," I said. "Because it looks like you and my twin sister have some kind of secret you don't want me to know." He rubbed his face. "She's just overstepping," he said. "She's emotional about the wedding. She says she feels like she's losing you. We've been talking about how to make it easier for her." "That's a lie," I said flatly. He looked offended. "You're calling me a liar," he said. "Yes," I said. "Because my sister doesn't text 'I need you' about her feelings. She texts that when she wants attention. Romantic attention. You know that, I know that. Stop gaslighting me." He threw his hands up. "There it is," he said. "I knew this would happen. You can't stand the idea that I might care about your family without it being some big betrayal." I stared at him, stunned. That was the first time he weaponized my insecurity against me. It wouldn't be the last. We went around in circles. He insisted nothing was going on. I insisted something was. We went to bed angry. He slept facing the wall. I stared at the ceiling. The next day, Rebecca texted me. "Hey sis, can we talk?" My fingers hovered. "About what?" I replied. She sent a long message about how I was pushing her away, how she felt like I was choosing him over her, how she just wanted to be close to her future brother-in-law so she wouldn't feel left out. "And of course, you're being really sensitive about this. Danny and I are just friends. If you can't handle that, maybe you're not ready to be married." She decalled him Danny. I never did. I suggested we all sit down together. She dodged. "Sis, that's so awkward," she wrote. "Let's not make this a big thing. Please don't ruin your own wedding over your anxiety." There it was again. That word, ruin. As if me asking not to be snuck around behind made me the problem. I wish I could tell you I dropped everything then. That I called off the engagement, threw the ring, burned the dress. But love is stubborn. So is denial. Instead, I went into hyper-observation mode. I noticed everything. How his phone always seemed to be face down now. How she always knew little details about his day that I hadn't told her. How, when we were all in the same room, there was a tension in the air like static. 2 months before the wedding, we had our joint family dinner. Parents from both sides, my siblings, his siblings. At one point, my mom raised her glass. "To Rachel and Daniel," she said, "and to welcoming Daniel into our crazy family, and to Rebecca, who's pretending she's not jealous but is totally jealous." Everyone laughed. Rebecca smiled tightly. "Don't worry," she quipped. "I'll get my turn, maybe sooner than you think." Everyone took it as a joke. I didn't. A week later, I got another kind of message. Not from Daniel, not from Rebecca. From my doctor's office. I'd gone in for a routine check, blood work, pap, the usual. The nurse called and said, "Your labs look good, but we got a positive pregnancy test." I nearly dropped the phone. "That's impossible," I said. "I'm on birth control, and I've had my period, kind of." She walked me through it. False positives, hormone fluctuations. She recommended a repeat test. I drove there the same day. The repeat test was negative. It might have been a lab error, she said, or a chemical pregnancy that already resolved. Either way, nothing to worry about right now. But if you have any symptoms, I went home confused, mildly shaken, and weirdly aware. Pregnancy, babies, timing. The word pregnant floated around my head for days. Then, 2 weeks later, my twin sister sat me down in our parents' living room. She looked different, less put together, less like the composed, curated version of herself she usually presented. "We need to talk," she said. My stomach clenched. "About what?" I asked, even though a part of me already knew. She took a deep breath. "I'm pregnant," she said. There it was. I stared at her. "In love or in trouble?" I asked, trying to make it a joke. She didn't laugh. "In complicated," she said. "Who's the father?" I asked. She hesitated. "It doesn't matter," she said quickly. "I'm keeping it. That's what matters." "It matters to the father," I said, "and to his family, and to everyone else." She bit her lip. "Not ready to talk about that," she said. I looked at her. Really looked. The math started doing itself in my head. Her timeline, her moods, the cryptic texts, the pregnancy lab mix-up that wasn't mine. "Is it Daniel S.?" I asked bluntly. Her eyes widened just a little too much. Then she scoffed. "Wow," she said, straight to accusing. "You really think that little of me?" "I think you want everything I have," I said quietly. "And I think you're used to getting it." Tears welled in her eyes. "I knew this would happen," she said. "You'd make this all about you. I mess up, and somehow it's you being victimized. You're not the main character all the time, Ratch." She stormed out. My mom found me 10 minutes later. "What did you say to her?" she demanded. "She's hysterical." "Is she pregnant by Daniel?" I asked. Mom's eyes flashed. "How could you even say that?" she said. "That's your sister. That's your fiancé." "What kind of mind goes there?" "The kind that's seen texts and weird behavior and timelines that don't add up," I said. "And the kind that got told she was pregnant when she was." Mom shook her head. "You're stressed," she said. "The wedding, the doctor, all of it. You are not going to blow up your own life with these accusations. Rebecca won't even tell us who the father is. She's that scared. You need to support her, not attack her." So now, in my own parents' living room, I was the villain. Over the next week, the story twisted. Rebecca told people she didn't feel safe around me, that I was unstable, obsessed with the idea that everyone wants to hurt me. Daniel, when I confronted him, denied everything. "Is it your baby?" I asked, standing in our kitchen. He paled. "What?" he said. "Don't play dumb," I snapped. "Is my twin pregnant with your baby?" He ran a hand through his hair. "She told you she's pregnant?" he asked. "So you knew," I said. "I found out yesterday," he said. "She called me, freaking out." "But no, it's not mine. We never," I held up a hand. "Don't you dare," I said. "Don't you stand in my face and lie to me right now. I have eyes, I have dates, I have a brain." He slammed his palm on the counter. "Nothing happened," he shouted. "We texted, we vented. We got too close emotionally, okay? I won't lie about that. But I have never slept with your sister." Then he lowered his voice. "Rachel," he said, "our wedding is in 6 weeks. Vendors are booked. Our parents are all in. We've put down deposits we can't get back. I love you. I want to marry you. Do you really want to throw all of that away over a maybe?" That sentence did something to me. Do you want to throw all that away? As if the sunk costs of deposits and centerpieces were equal to my self-respect. As if the real problem here was me throwing it away, not whatever had already been done. I didn't answer. I went upstairs, closed the door, sat on the floor and stared at the wall. My mind did this thing it does when it's overloaded. It went very, very still. And then a different part of me, quieter, colder, spoke up. "Fine," it said. "They want proof. Give them proof. In a way they can't spin, can't twist, can't gaslight into nothing." I called my doctor. I called a second clinic. I called a lawyer friend from college. I learned more about prenatal paternity testing in 48 hours than I ever wanted to know. Here's the thing, in a lot of places, you can't just drag someone to get tested. Consent matters, timing matters, chain of custody matters, but you can plan, you can set appointments, you can arrange for envelopes, you can build a trap with truth inside it. I called Rebecca. Congratulations, I said, forcing cheer into my voice. I was thinking, since you're pregnant and don't want to talk about the father, people are going to talk. You know how this town is. Wouldn't it be better to have everything clear before my wedding, so it doesn't overshadow things? She was quiet. I'm not trying to overshadow you, she said. You already are, I replied. Let's at least control the narrative. There's a test that can confirm the father before birth. Painless, quick. If it's not Daniel, great. We can shut my mouth and everyone else's. If it is, we handle it before I walk down the aisle in front of 200 people. She hesitated. I don't know, she said. That's a lot. I played my card. Mom and Dad will be there, I said. At the appointment, they can be witnesses. If it makes you more comfortable, Daniel doesn't even have to come. We can use blood samples, not swabs. The lab handles everything. There was a long pause. Fine, she said finally. Not for you, for me. I'm tired of you looking at me like I'm a villain. We scheduled it. Privately, I told Daniel. If you're so sure, I said, you'll do this. He balked. Joel, this is insane, he said. A DNA test, before we're even married. Do you want to turn this into some Jerry Springer episode? I want to stop feeling crazy, I said. This is your chance to prove I am. He stared at me, then slowly nodded. Fine, he muttered, I'll do it. And when it comes back and it's not mine, you're going to apologize to me. And to her. Gladly, I said. If it's not yours, I'll apologize on my knees in front of the whole family. He smirked. I meant it. Day of the test felt like walking toward an execution. The lab was quiet, beige, anonymous. Rebecca sat in a chair, one hand on her small but visible bump, looking pale and stubborn. Daniel sat across the room, arms crossed, jaw tight. My parents were there, because of course they were. Mom hovered over Rebecca. Are you sure about this, baby? She asked for the 10th time. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. She has to prove it to me, I said under my breath. Dad shot me a look. Not helpful, he murmured. The nurse called us in one by one. They took Rebecca's blood. They took Daniel's. They took mine too, for a separate reason. To have a clear maternal twin sample to distinguish from paternal markers if needed. Twins complicate things. Identical twins share almost all their DNA. Sometimes, paternity tests can get tricky if the alleged father has an identical twin. In our case, it was the mother who was the twin. The lab tech explained it carefully. Because you and your sister are identical, we're going to run an extended panel, she said. It may take a little longer, but we'll be able to determine if this man is the father or not, even with you two being twins. She looked at Rebecca. We'll mail the results to the address you indicate, she said. You can also choose to have a sealed copy sent directly to a third party like an attorney, doctor, or officiant. I felt something click into place. Officiant. At the altar. If we list our officiant, I asked casually, could the sealed results go to them, not to any of us? The tech frowned. In theory, she said, it's unusual. But if everyone signs off, and we have clear instructions who can open it, and when, we can do that. We're just a lab. What you do with the envelope afterward is your business. I glanced at Daniel, at Rebecca. What do you think? I asked. If it goes to someone neutral, no one can accuse anyone else of tampering. We open it, they tell us together. No secrets. Daniel shrugged. Whatever, he said. I don't care who opens it. It's going to say exactly what I already know. Rebecca hesitated. I don't want my private medical stuff in front of some stranger, she said. It's not medical, I said. It's paternity. And that stranger is the person about to sign my marriage certificate. Dad stepped in. Maybe that's actually fair, he said slowly. If we're going this far, may as well make it bulletproof. Mom looked upset. This is so cold, she said. Since when do we need lawyers and labs and third parties to tell us who to trust in this family? Since trust stopped being enough, I said. In the end, we all signed. We listed our officiant, a family friend who'd known us since we were kids, as the third party. The lab tech noted the date of our wedding. Results should be ready by then, she said. I walked out of that building feeling like I'd just loaded a gun and handed it to fate. The weeks leading up to the wedding were surreal. On the surface, it was all normal wedding chaos. Dress fittings, final payments, vendor confirmations. Underneath, everything was strained. Rebecca and I barely spoke. When we did, it was polite, clipped. She still tried on her bridesmaid dress next to me. Both of us in front of the same mirror, identical faces, with very different expressions. Mom fluttered between us like a desperate diplomat. Can't you two please get along? She'd whisper. This is supposed to be a happy time. Daniel and I oscillated between pretending everything was fine and having quiet, vicious arguments behind closed doors. He wanted me to drop it. I wanted him to stop giving me reasons not to. My therapist, yes, I got one 10-10 recommend, asked me a question that stuck. If the test comes back and he's not the father, do you still want to marry him? I sat there in silence, because the honest answer was, I didn't know. If he wasn't the father, that meant I'd been wrong about the worst version of their betrayal. It didn't erase the emotional cheating, the secrecy, the gaslighting, but it would mean I de-dragged everyone through a nuclear-level spectacle over suspicion. If he was the father, then everything I feared was true. I'd be standing at the altar with a man who had not only cheated on me, but done it with my twin, created a child, and lied about it to my face. There was no version of this where my life looked the same after that envelope opened. People online love to say, if you have to test him, why are you marrying him? It's a fair question. Here's my ugly truth. I wanted to be wrong enough to still have a future with him. I wanted to be right enough to not be crazy. So I did the only thing that made sense to the broken, calculating part of me. I decided the truth would decide for me. Not my hope, not my fear, not my mother's insistence that family stays together. The morning of the wedding, the sky was clear. Of course it was. I woke up in the bridal suite, makeup artist and hairstylist chattering, bridesmaids clinking mimosas. Rebecca was there, in her dress, different color, same cut as mine. She looked tired, not just physically, soul tired. Do you want me to help with your veil? She asked quietly when we were briefly alone. For a second, I saw us as kids again. Her untangling my hair, me zipping up her dresses. I handed her the veil. As she pinned it, she said, "We don't have to do this, you know." "Do what?" I asked, meeting her eyes in the mirror. "This whole DNA stunt," she said. "We can call it off. Destroy whatever they send. Move on. You can marry him. I'll figure my stuff out. We don't have to make this a public execution." I turned to face her. "So you'd rather I marry him not knowing?" I asked. "Raise my kids in a family where every holiday I wonder if my niece or nephew is actually my fiancé?" Her jaw clenched. "You're cruel," she whispered. "I'm honest," I said. "For once, I'm being more loyal to myself than to the narrative where you and I are a matching set." She flinched like I'd slapped her. We walked to the ceremony in silence. The venue was beautiful. Outdoor garden, white chairs, string quartet. Guests turned as my father walked me down the aisle. I saw Daniel at the front. He looked handsome, nervous, hopeful. His eyes met mine. There was something there, regret maybe, or a last-ditch plea. Beside him stood his best man. To my side, Rebecca, bouquet in hand, standing in her bridesmaid dress with one hand resting protectively over her stomach. Only a slight curve, enough for anyone paying attention. Our officiant, Pastor Allen, smiled as we reached the front. "Dearly beloved," he began, "we are gathered here today." His voice became a background hum. I saw faces. My mother, eyes already glistening. My father, jaw set, trying not to cry. His parents, smiling politely. His sister, phone discreetly out, recording. And at the back, a familiar figure slipping into a side row. The courier. We de-arranged it in advance. Lab envelope, sealed, delivered directly to Pastor Allen right before the ceremony started. My heart pounded. We went through the readings, the vows, the ring exchange. "Do you, Daniel, take Rachel?" "I do." "Do you, Rachel, take Daniel?" I opened my mouth. Before we continue," Pastor Allen said suddenly, raising a hand, "the couple has requested that I pause for a brief clarification." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Daniel stiffened. I turned to Pastor Allen. He held up a large, sealed envelope. "Several weeks ago," he said, voice steady, "Rachel, her sister Rebecca, and Daniel asked an independent lab to send me a sealed set of test results. They all signed, agreeing that I, as a neutral party, would open this only today, in front of witnesses, if there were any unresolved questions about paternity related to Rebecca's pregnancy." A hush fell. You could have heard a pedal drop. Rebecca went pale. My mother put a hand over her mouth. "Rachel," Pastor Allen said gently, "are you still asking me to read this?" "Yes," I said, out loud. "Clear." Daniel shook his head minutely, almost imperceptibly. "Pastor, this is unnecessary," he said, voice low, but amplified enough for the front rows to hear. "We can handle this privately." "We tried privately," I said. "Everyone told me I was crazy. Today, we get to see if I am." He looked like he wanted to strangle me and beg me, both at once. Pastor Allen sighed. "As agreed," he said, tearing open the envelope. He unfolded the pages. His eyes scanned quickly, then more slowly. His brows knit. He looked up at us. "The report is clear," he said. "It lists probability of paternity." He swallowed. "For alleged father, Daniel last name, it states, paternity, 99.999% probability. Conclusion, Daniel last name cannot be excluded as the biological father of the fetus carried by Rebecca last name. He is to near certainty the biological father." Gasps. Literal gasps. Someone in the back said, "Oh my God." Someone else said, "What?" loudly. My mother fainted. I'm not exaggerating. She went down like a tree. There was a flurry of movement as my aunt and a cousin rushed to her. My father just froze. His face went blank, then red. "Is this a joke?" he barked. "Tell me this is some kind of sick joke." Pastor Allen lifted the paper. "This came directly from the lab," he said, shaken. "It has their letterhead barcodes, all 3 of your signatures authorizing me to receive it." I looked at Daniel. He was staring at the ground, face ashen. "Say something," I said quietly. "Please." He looked up at me, at Rebecca, at the crowd. He started, then stopped. Rebecca snapped first. "This isn't fair," she screamed, throwing her bouquet on the ground. "This wasn't supposed to happen like this." People turned to her. My dad stared, stunned. "Rebecca," he said slowly, "is it true?" She burst into tears. "He said he was going to break it off," she sobbed, pointing at Daniel. "He said he didn't know how to tell you, that he was with the wrong sister." The world tilted. "Is that true?" I asked Daniel, my voice deadly calm. He opened his mouth, closed it. "Yes," he whispered finally. I told her I was confused, that I'd fallen for her. It was a mistake. I was drunk. We were both, I laughed. It was an ugly sound. "Drunk," I repeated. The oldest excuse in the book. He reached for me. "Rachel, I never meant." I stepped back. "Don't touch me," I said. The crowd had dissolved into chaos. His mother was crying. His father looked like he wanted to sink into the earth. My friends were watching with wide eyes, phones halfway out, and then shoved back in out of respect. Pastor Allen looked like he wanted to be anywhere else. "Do you still want to continue?" he asked weakly. "It is within your rights to stop this ceremony." I looked at the man who'd sworn he loved me, at the sister who'd sworn we were forever. "Continue," I said. "With what? A marriage built on lies and shared DNA we didn't consent to." I turned to the guests. "I want to be very clear," I said, voice shaking, but loud. "I didn't plan to humiliate anyone. I planned to protect myself from being gaslit for the rest of my life. Everyone told me I was crazy. The test says I'm not." I looked at my parents. "You told me family doesn't do this to each other," I said. "Turns out, family does exactly this to each other, and then tells you're the problem for noticing." My mother, revived and sitting up with someone fanning her, sobbed. "Rachel, please, we can fix this," she cried. "He made a mistake. She made a mistake. Don't throw your life away over one mistake." "One," I said. "One night, maybe. But a year of lies. Months of gaslighting. Lifetime of my sister taking what's mine, and my parents calling it sharing." I handed my bouquet to my maid of honor. "I'm not throwing my life away," I said. "I'm just not signing it over to someone who already gave part of it to my twin without asking." I took off the ring, placed it in Daniel's hand. "You can give that to her," I said quietly, "since you two share everything now." He looked shattered. "Rachel, I don't," I said. "You had so many chances to tell me the truth. You chose to let me walk down this aisle blind." I turned to Rebecca. "As for you," I said, "I hope the baby is healthy. I hope you get the help you need, but you don't get to be my other half anymore. You made your own separate life. You and I are no longer a matching set." Her face crumpled. "You can't just stop being my sister," she cried. "Oh, I'll always be your sister," I said, "but I don't have to be your doormat." The guests parted as I walked back down the aisle alone. No music, no rice. Just the sound of my heels on the path, and 100 people who just watched my entire world split in two. I got in my car, drove home, took off the dress in the living room and sat on the floor in a slip, staring at nothing, veil crumpled beside me. My phone exploded. Texts, calls, voicemails. From my mother, "Come back, we need to talk." From my father, "I'm proud of you. I'm also furious. Call me." From friends, "We're here if you want to vent." From unknown numbers that were probably relatives I'd never met. "I can't believe you did that, but good for you." From Rebecca, "You ruined my life. He said he loved me. You stole my baby's father." From Daniel, "I'm so sorry. I deserve everything you said. Please let me talk to you at least once." I didn't answer any of them that day. Instead, I sat there and let the quiet fill my house. For the first time in months, my body wasn't buzzing with suspicion, dread, or the scramble of trying to prove something. The truth had done what it always does when it finally shows up. It burned everything that wasn't built to survive it. In the weeks that followed, the fallout rippled. My parents tried to stay neutral, which, in practice, meant they begged me to forgive Rebecca while not demanding the same accountability from her. "She's pregnant," Mom said. "She's fragile. You're stronger. You can handle this better." There it was again. My strength used against me as a reason to accept less. I told them I needed space. From her, from them, from the whole family system that had taught both of us that her wants mattered more than my boundaries. Daniel moved out of his apartment and back in with his parents for a while. He texted me long apologies. He admitted they'd kissed months before. He admitted they'd slept together once, drunk, after a fight he and I had. He admitted he'd told her he was confused and might have chosen the wrong twin, words that haunted me more than the act itself. He said he never meant for her to get pregnant, that he'd planned to figure it out after the wedding, that he thought he could make it right. If you're listening to this thinking, He might really be sorry. You're not wrong. He probably is. Sorry it blew up like this. Sorry he got caught this way. Sorry he has to face the consequences. But sorry doesn't unring bells. Rebecca spent the rest of her pregnancy in a weird half-exile. Some relatives took my side. Some took hers. Some tried to take both and ended up taking neither. She posted cryptic things online about being betrayed by people you thought would always be there. She didn't tag me. She didn't have to. The baby was born healthy. A girl. My mother texted me a photo without comment. Tiny fists. Same eyes as both of us. Genetics are cruel like that. I stared at the photo for a long time. This little human hadn't asked to be the product of a betrayal. She hadn't asked to be an explosive device thrown into the middle of a twin dynamic that was already cracked. I texted back, glad she's healthy, nothing more. People asked if I'd be in the child's life, if I'd step up as an aunt. For a while, the answer was no. I needed distance. From Rebecca. From Daniel, who was now legally on the birth certificate and paying support. From the version of myself who would have swallowed this for the sake of a picture-perfect Christmas card. Over time, things shifted. Rebecca and I went months without speaking. Then, one day, she called. "I'm in therapy," she said, voice brittle. "They said I should try to repair with you. I don't even know where to start." "That's a good first sentence," I said. We talked, truly talked, more honestly than we had in years. She admitted she'd always resented me. She felt like I got the good guys, the stability, the approval. That when Daniel came along and actually saw her flaws and all, she mistook his attention for a lifeline. "I didn't set out to steal him," she said. "But once I had a piece of him, I couldn't bring myself to let go, even when I knew it was destroying you." I told her that didn't make it better, but it did make it make sense. We didn't magically forgive each other. We started cautiously. A coffee, a walk, talking about anything but him. Eventually, we talked about the baby. "I want her to know she has an aunt," Rebecca said, "but I don't want her to grow up thinking our story is normal." "Then you tell her it isn't," I said, "that we made bad choices, that we hurt people, that she doesn't have to repeat it." As for Daniel, he tried one last time to get me to meet for closure. I declined. The closure was the lab result and the look on his face at the altar. I didn't need more. I changed my number, blocked his email, moved cities 6 months later. New job, new apartment, new coffee shop where nobody knew I was the girl who pulled out a DNA test at her wedding. Therapy helped me untangle something important. This wasn't just a cheating story. It was a lifetime of being told that my wants and needs were negotiable when they bumped up against my sister S. The DNA test was dramatic, yes. Petty, maybe. But it was also the first loud no I'd ever said to a pattern that would have swallowed me. I don't recommend everyone do what I did. If you're listening thinking, I would have just called off the wedding quietly, you might be right. Maybe that would have been kinder. Maybe it would have been less explosive. But I know myself. If I hadn't seen that paper, read those words, watched that room react, I would have spent the rest of my life hearing, "You're overreacting. You're crazy. You're ruining this." When people show you who they are, believe them. When science shows you what they did, believe that too. So now I want to ask you, if you found out your twin or sibling or best friend was pregnant and suspected your fiancé was the father, what would you have done? Would you have walked away quietly on a gut feeling alone? Or would you, like me, have needed that one undeniable piece of proof, even if it meant opening it at the altar? Do you think I went too far by turning our wedding into a courtroom? Or was that the only way to stop everyone from rewriting what happened and calling me crazy for the next 20 years? If you've ever had family and romance collide in the worst way, sibling betrayals, partner cheating with someone too close to home, DNA tests you never thought you'd need. Tell me your story. Your letter to Karma might be the next one we read on Karma's letterbox.